This is finance. This is money, the future of money. And then blockchain is bigger than just money. So you have some of these things that are being used for replacement of money, but you have other things that have nothing to do with money. They're going to have...
Someone was just explaining to me yesterday, finally, I'm understanding how blockchain will help with supply chain.
Yeah.
Because they're unable to track a package all the way from Africa up to wherever. And that by using blockchain, there's just so many industries where this is useful.
What is up, everybody? I got a special guest here. We're going to be talking about a presentation you do not want to miss. We're going to talk about how Dave actually took 100 grand as an experiment. Been doing it in crypto, but not Bitcoin. So we're going to talk about 3 things you probably haven't heard of. And they've jumped to, in the last 8 weeks, he's made about 700,000 profit in 2 months. Now, you can start with $1,000 or $100, but this is just kind of an experiment. And I'm going to do a little introduction for Dave. So I've known Dave for a long time here in LA. And the cool thing about Dave, he catches trends consistently better than most people. So he caught a trend, this new trend in 1995 called the internet. He was one of the first people to be on the internet. He launched his site in 1995. He's made over, what'd you say, over 150 million bucks?
Yeah, over that.
He's made over $150 million in regular business, internet business, which is the second wave of the revolution we've seen in the last 50 years. The first wave was TV in the 1950s and 60s, revolutionizing, business. The second wave was the internet, which started right around when you got started. Amazon started in 94, Dave started in 95, $150 million later, 2014, he bought Bitcoin at $300. And of course, we know now it's up to 17. It's hovering, let's say 15, 16 plus. But there's an opportunity in what I consider the third wave. It depends on how you think of this. But really, there was that Bitcoin wave. If you had bought Bitcoin in 2010, 2 pizzas sold for 10,000 Bitcoin. Somebody was literally, what was the guy? Laszlo was his name. He was in Florida. He said, I'll give you 10,000 Bitcoin if you give me 2 pizzas. And they did it. And that's $170 million he lost out on. So that was really the third wave, the Bitcoin wave. But there's a fourth wave coming. And that's what we're talking about. And that's in the smaller cryptocurrency coins that everybody's forgotten about. So there's other things besides Bitcoin. Obviously, there's things like, Ether. There's Bitcoin Cash. There's Litecoin. There's all these IOTA and all these things that people are talking about. But there's even smaller, quote unquote, penny cryptos. Now, they're not penny stocks because it's an incorrect analogy to say that Bitcoin is the same as owning Apple stock, because Apple stock, you own a part of Apple. Bitcoin is more like gold 2.0, digital gold, okay? There's Ripple, there's all of these, and some of these are, protocols like Bitcoin, like Ethereum, and then some of these are utilities. We'll talk about a utility, like a company like Augur. Jeremy Gardner was here yesterday. So there's all this kind of stuff coming out, and you need to not be somebody who misses, the fourth wave. You miss the fourth wave, you're going to be pissed at yourself, okay? So I'm going to let Dave and I are just basically going to talk and just take question and answers. I'm going to tell you a true story. I don't even think I told you this. So I did a mastermind. I had 33 of the top cryptocurrency experts from around the world flew in October to my house. And Dave was there, and he was like, Stellar. Check out this thing, Stellar. And it was at 1 penny, I think.
It was at 1.5 cents the day of that meeting.
And then what's it at right now?
19.
So basically, it's 10, 15x.
The funny thing is, right at day after the meeting, it started going up. I was like, did someone in Ty's group start running it up?
Did they start buying it? There was
an IBM deal. That's why it went up.
Yeah, IBM. I mean, some of you, were you watching yesterday? If you haven't subscribed to my Bitcoin Crypto Mentor Mastermind podcast, it was number 2 or 3 business podcasts in the world already. And I had Jeremy Gardner here as one of the original guys, got into Ether at 90 cents. He's a blockchain capital partner, the biggest blockchain, with Brock Pierce and these guys. Anyway, we said last night we talked about QTUM, QTUM. That thing doubled since we said last night. My brother was, after he watched yesterday, he's like, dude, I should I should invest in Qtum. And he said he was too lazy last night, and it basically doubled. So, Dave, let's shoot the shit. Let's talk about 3 cryptocurrencies that aren't Bitcoin that you have to know about.
Recently, when I realized that this is more than just about Bitcoin, it's a new platform that's going to disrupt many industries. And that's when I realized I got to spend all of my time studying so we can understand what this is and make the right investments.
Dave basically has a business on autopilot that makes him it does 14 million a year. So now he has, was it my idea for you to get a CEO?
Actually, you kind of like, just
credit.
Get a CEO.
He was working all day on his business.
I was like, seems obvious. That's a good idea. And I was like, you did inspire me to get the CEO, and now it's fabulous.
So now I basically, years ago, I can't take credit for it, but we were talking, and I said, you should just get a CEO. So he has a CEO running his $14 million a year business, and now he takes all his time and basically studies the market.
I like to spend most of my time studying so I know what I'm doing. Then I invest based on that, and then I try to share the info with videos and some of the videos.
For those of you who are in my advanced 60-day mentorship, where I brought in top crypto people to teach you, he's one of the instructors. So he was just here today. We were just talking. I said, why don't we talk about this? Someone's talking about the profits are in Litecoin. We were talking about Litecoin yesterday. Litecoin's basically a fork off Bitcoin.
The 3 I like.
Let's do them one at a time. So he's very bullish on one thing. What is it?
Which one first do we want to do?
Do your favorite. Do your favorite.
My favorite is my Stellar. You got to love things that go up 10x in 2 months. But so we've got our.
And we're going to be talking for advanced and beginners. So some of you who are advanced, we get it. You know stuff. But we were trying to talk to a lot of different people. And for those of you beginners, if you're lost, just leave a comment that says, I'm lost.
Okay. So this Stellar, the technology is great in that, Bitcoin, I think it takes, a block closes every 10 minutes. It takes a long time for transactions to go through. It's expensive. Stellar Networks transactions go through every 5 seconds, and it's free. Yeah. And and it's completely decentralized. And
but tell your philosophy. So it's fast. Also, talk about your philosophy on winners.
Yes, I've learned invest with winners. Steve Jobs, whether he makes a phone or a computer or a movie, it's amazing. And Elon Musk, whether he's going to space or digging tunnels or cars. And so I've learned, find people that are winners. They tend to be winners. So the founder of Stellar is this Jed McCaleb. Yeah. He created a file sharing system called eDonkey, became one of the biggest in the world. Then he saw Bitcoin. He created the first exchange, Mt. Gox, became the biggest in the world. He sold it before it got run into the ground. Then it crashed
later, but that's a separate story.
But that was like a year after he sold it. I don't blame him for that. Then he founded Ripple, which now is one of the biggest platforms. But he didn't like the way it was going. It's not as open. He basically had a different vision, so he forked it to create Stellar.
Yep.
And so I'm like, he said, that's 3 wins in a row. What's the odds that this is not going to be good? And then sort of rewrote the whole thing. And now he's bringing in partners. Kik, have you heard of this? Kik from Canada just left Ethereum. I love Ethereum too, but left there. IBM decided to make Stellar their core system for payments that they're building for international payments. It's just crazy. It's been going up 10, 20% a day for a while now. But it's got a long way to go. This thing is a platform for the future.
Someone was saying, let me tell you, a lot of people, someone's saying, ETH is bad, IOTA's the future, EOS is going to kill Ethereum. Listen, I was just with Brock Pearson talking to him about, he's, by the way, the founder of EOS. And he's like, we ain't going to kill Ethereum. That's not our goal. Ethereum... So let me explain for some of you beginners. So for those of you more advanced, you want to look at some quote unquote penny cryptos. This thing's at 1 penny. I put this in October. I was mentioned what you said. It's gone up 15, 20 times since then. So let me explain something, because people, for you who have money or don't have money, but you want to learn about this, some people are saying they're lost. So think of it this way. So here's you. Wherever you are, your current status. So you have to make a decision. There's new trends appearing day by day, whether it's, selling on Amazon, which is something you do. I talk about social media, all these things that continually happen. So there's trends continually appearing. You have to make a decision. If you, let's say, decide cryptocurrencies is something that intrigues you, you have to know then how to analyze what you're going to do. Because if you're just looking at Fox News, CNBC, like what you see the mainstream stuff talking about, you're an idiot and you're going to make about as much money as most idiots make, which is not a lot of money. So you have to know how to analyze correctly. The correct way to analyze is to look at the underlying fundamentals. Yesterday at my house, I had one of the top crypto traders. This is a whale that trades on a day-to-day basis, makes $100,000 a day. He built the trading desk for science. So this is a big guy. He built it with Brock. So he's there, this is a guy who knows literally, he bought ETH at 90 cents too. I don't care if you're a value investor. Dave is more of a value investor, or you're doing technical analysis, right? Where you're trying to look at trends and ride waves and do algorithmic trading.
I'm looking at, this is a platform.
Yeah, you're a value guy.
Yeah, or it's also, I'm just thinking, this is a platform. 5 years from now, is it going to be a lot bigger than it is now? If it is, then I can hold it for 5 years. And that's where the biggest gains come, is when you hold something that just keeps growing and growing. And so if it crashes tomorrow, it's not as big of a deal because I'm in it for the long game.
Yeah. So if you look at Stellar, we have a question mark. We're going through this and we got to analyze this thing called Stellar. So we want to look at something called use cases, or some people use a more broad word called does it have utility? To the question of is Bitcoin a fad? Is it a Ponzi scheme? Is it a scam? Blah, 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 blah. Well, you have to ask yourself, does it have use cases? Are there cases where humans are using Bitcoin? So there's a tulip mania in the 1700s where there's this huge bubble and it crashed. And it stayed crashed. Now, internet, you remember the internet bubble. Uh-huh. It went up in the late 1990s, crashed in the early 2000s. Guess what happened? It was a bubble, but it was a temporary bubble. And the people who stayed in the internet, like Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg,
If you bought Amazon at the peak of the bubble, you still are way up today.
Yeah, you're still.
The most important thing is picking a winner. And holding it.
But the reason is the internet had use cases. People were using the freaking internet. So the second that humans are using it and it has utility, doesn't matter if it goes up and down. Real estate crashed in 2008. Do you think real estate's a scam? No, it's not a scam because people use it to live. They live in a house. Now, so the question is, when you're examining something, Stellar, Ripple, when you're looking at ETH, when you're looking at Bitcoin, every single one of these, all the way from the top of the chart to the very bottom of the chart, where there's brand new ICO coins, like Sense is one. Brock Pierce's wife, Crystal, was here at the house on my podcast, and she basically has just started trading. It's a low volume thing. From the top to the bottom, you ask yourself, is there use cases? You ask yourself, is there utility? So now we'll come back to what Dave was saying. What the use cases for Stellar are?
It's originally it's just so it's payments.
Yes.
They also can do the ICOs. It also has smart contracts, not as I don't believe it's Turing complete like Ethereum.
Yeah.
But you can do smart contracts. And the other thing,
and it's being used. You said by who was using it?
So Kick is a huge chat platform in Canada. They just moved over. IBM is bringing banks on to allow countries to do trade contracts and with immediate payment. And so countries that couldn't even...
Ripple.
Ripple's do it now. The difference with Ripple is they go to the banks. It's not an open system.
Yes.
With IBM, with Stellar, anybody can just join on. Then they don't need permission, and it's free.
Yes.
Ripple, I think, charges the banks.
Yes. Yeah, Ripple is already being used by something like 70% of banks in Japan. So there's use cases. That's important for everybody.
And a lot of these platforms, too, people are like, well, IOTA's awesome. Well, IOTA's launched, but it's not totally decentralized. A lot of these things out there, it may be overwhelming. A lot of things haven't launched yet. So it's a lot easier. Stellar's been up and running and has use cases. It's been up and running for 3 years now. And a lot of things haven't launched yet. I just find it's a lot safer if you can look at something that's up, and you can look on, Stellar has this dashboard, and you can see the number of transactions per day, and you see the transactions going up and up, as opposed to some of these platforms hasn't launched yet. Maybe it'll be great, but you don't know.
Now, I just want to say one thing. I want to say that you can lose a lot of money. Just to be clear, we're not talking about get rich quick. You must be smart. You must understand what you're doing. So the key thing is you got to get in and you got to know, but if you do it wrong, you'll lose money. That's why I'm so big on educating yourself.
You don't have to go all in. I like to say buy an amount so that you still hope it goes down because you have more to put in. But get something. A friend called me the other day. I've been talking to him. Every time I see him, we talk about crypto. And he's not, he texted me. He's like, I missed the boat again. And I just called him up. I'm like, why are you waiting for boats? He's like, I'm waiting for the crash. Just put something, this book, Crypto Assets, is a great new book. And there's analysis where just 1% of your portfolio, because it's so uncorrelated with other assets, because it's so volatile, with so much upside potential, just 1% of your portfolio in crypto assets can have a positive impact on the whole portfolio.
Yeah, this is not crazy stuff. But I will tell you, as Dave knows, people who got in the internet early, I got in 2001. Dave was there almost 7 years before me, really 2001 into 2. So he's 7 years. He got a business on autopilot, $14 million a year from getting in early. It's going to be the same thing that people that catch the correct trends. There's things out there that are scams. You probably don't want to do BitConnect.
And I see the similarities between this and the web. Except this is bigger than the whole web explosion. It's just...
This is finance. This is money. The future of money. And then blockchain is bigger than just money. So you have some of these things that are being used for money, replacement of money, but you have other things that have nothing to do with money. They're going to have...
Someone was just explaining to me yesterday, finally, I'm understanding how blockchain will help with supply chain. Yeah. Because they're unable to track a package all the way from Africa up to wherever. And that by using blockchain, there's just so many industries where this is useful.
People are talking about anyone that supports Ripple is an idiot. Someone says, now I want to talk.
People are very emotional about it. I make these videos and
I know.
Sometimes I don't like, there's certain coins I don't like. And I say, I don't believe in this.
Yeah.
And people want to kill me. Don't get too emotional because also what's that? Consistency bias.
Yes. Commitment consistency bias.
You gotta be able to realize, sometimes the facts change or you learn something new and you want to be able to adjust. Don't fall too in love. With any and
there's a lot of smart people that disagree. Yesterday, Jeremy Gardner's on here. He doesn't like Litecoin. He says Litecoin's a fork of Bitcoin that didn't do fundamentally awesome changes to it, but he likes Bitcoin Cash more because it's a fork that so it's a variation on Bitcoin for those of you who don't know what a fork is, but he likes the underlying technology. And what happens is, and you don't want to be a cult person. And you will meet people who are like cultish about IOTA or NEO or like this. It's like, dude, you think that's how you make money? You guys are, the people who are like that, your money will soon disappear from your bank account. I promise you that. Those of you who get it's like being a day trader in the stock market and being super attached, like, ooh, Apple stock. Like if you look at Apple stock like it's an apple and you lust after it, you're going to lose money. Good traders, they move in and out when it's time to move in and out. Even value investors, they move in and out. Warren Buffett, biggest value investor of our time. He'll sell stuff. He just sold a company.
I mean, I was a believer in IOTA, and I was like, if I like something, I'm dollar cost averaging, buying a little to build up a bigger position over time. And then I learned more about it. I don't want to piss off the people here who love it, but there was a thing from MIT Media Labs and I decided, you know what? It's not for me. And so then I was a trader, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to get out of it. But I was like, I loved IOTA. I still have a shirt. I have an IOTA shirt. But then I read some things, and you realize I got to change my mind.
All right, let's take some questions. What are the three that they're saying? We talked about the first one. Someone says, IOTA is the future. You've been warned. I am a robot. IOTA only is good, people say.
What are your thoughts? More people asking about BitConnect.
And BitConnect, most smart people say is a scam.
It looks like a pyramid Ponzi.
Yes.
It's, you give them money and they give you a token which you loan back to them, which they're going to supposedly earn 1% interest a day on it.
Right.
It's just...
Somebody said Ripple is the next Bitcoin. No, it's not. But good try. Probably not. No one knows for sure. What I understand is how I got to start asking people, how much money have you ever made in your life that you are so confident? I never understood that about people. Like when I started out in business, I hadn't made any money. When I would be around people that had made a lot of money, I wouldn't be like, let me tell you what the fucking thing that's going to make $100 million is. Well, because I wasn't so confident because I didn't have, it's like false confidence that people have. People who have never made, $1 million in their life are like, trust me, this is going to be bigger than Bitcoin. Oh, well, and just because they read 2 blog posts, 1 CNBC article. Like, it's not that simple, man. When I talk to the smartest crypto guys in the world, sometimes they're like, I don't know. See, smart people sometimes go, I don't fucking know. Idiots in your life, by the way, there's an actual scientific term for this. It's called Dunning-Kruger. A set of scientists, Dunning-Kruger, researched and they found idiots are very confident. Just think about your family. You got one uncle, one cousin in your family.
There's a term in the crypto space. People say FUD. Oh, you're spreading FUD. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Yes.
And I'm like, if you buy anything and you don't feel uncertainty and doubt, you don't have enough information. That's part of the story.
Dunning-Kruger. Dumb people go where geniuses fear to tread. So what you need to do, somebody said, Ty, are you spreading FOMO? Of course I'm not spreading FOMO. I'm spreading facts. Facts are never be the first or the last to try a new trend. Facts are crypto is probably here to stay, and that if you don't educate yourself, you will miss out on waves. Fact, if you had bought 10,000 Bitcoin in 2010, you would have $170 million and you could have bought it for $50. Those are all facts. I'm not saying FOMO is fear of missing out. And FOMO can be bad and it can be good. I'm a fan of FOMO.
The cryptocurrency revolution, this new platform is not going away. It's huge. And understanding how it works is important. And it's not about missing out. It's about not being educated about the next good thing.
Why not?
You should always be
afraid
of not being in. But that doesn't mean taking all your money and betting on some coin. It just means understanding what is happening. This is in the news every day. It's clearly big.
Yes.
Understanding what it is. And then when you get a big understanding, you may say, you know what, I can put a little in. And maybe that works out for you. But you should be afraid about being, I made this one video about, I feel like it's 1994 again. And I was like, imagine if in 1994 you knew what would happen with the web, how that would affect your business, what investments you could have made. And now we have this new platform, if you understand and you can predict how it's going to affect your job or your business or investments, you'll be smarter. And so just, if nothing else, be educated. You don't have to throw all your money in, but know what's going on.
The most interesting thing in life is when I meet people, different people, the more money they have, the more they go, tell me about that. It's amazing. The less money people have, when you talk about money, they go, no, I got the absolute answer. No, you don't. You don't fucking know. People lie, but numbers don't. When I meet entrepreneurs that are like, dude, I know exactly how to do something. I'm like, show me your numbers then. There's people out there selling how to grow your Instagram page, and they got fucking 10,000 followers. Don't be selling a program if you do, unless you're selling advice you're getting from somebody who has more than you. Numbers. That's why I said the people teaching in the program, my program, like Brock Pierce, well, we know the numbers. EOS has done $700 million. It's the largest ICO in history. We know Jeremy Gardner is a blockchain capital. Jeremy Gardner started a nonprofit college group where 12 billion of crypto market cap has come out of. Numbers. That's why I wish I could sometimes change live commenting, where you had to have a little bio next to it before you give a comment. Like, just fucking, it's like if you need heart surgery because you're like having a heart attack, and like at Thanksgiving, like your cousin is like, oh, I'll do the heart surgery. Why? Well, I read an article on heart surgery once. No, well, you don't know until you're qualified. And the thing about crypto is not everybody's qualified. Very few people are qualified. That's why I said I'm not even teaching this course. I'm bringing in guys that are even more qualified than I am, a lot more qualified. So some practical questions I see people saying, where are you buying Stellar?
So the two exchanges that have the most volume on it are Poloniex and Bittrex. So, and I don't think you can convert dollars in there. So that means you have to buy Bitcoin somewhere, usually, Coinbase. Then you send your Bitcoin to Poloniex or Bittrex, buy it there, and then I don't leave anything on these exchanges. You can download it. It's called leaving it directly on the Stellar network. You can create your own public-private key on the Stellar network. As long as you don't lose that key, secret key, and you don't give it to someone else, you can't lose it.
Don't tweet it.
So then you download off the exchange, and then you just hold it. So my Stellar Lumens, I just have them. I'm holding them on the Stellar network, and I don't have to worry about an exchange. I don't have to worry about anything going bankrupt, and they're just held there. But
so a lot of you need to learn the basics. So in the Crypto Mastermind, you can learn the basics, and those basic things are how to get what exchange to use. There's more than one. How to pull it in a wallet. You need to learn about different ways to store it, whether it be, cold storage like in a device, or whether it's like an online type wallet. You need to understand the security side of things, how to set up your authentication, because people will hack it. And it's like cash. You get hacked, you lost it. Okay? You can't really get it back. Like if there's someone, if you lose $10,000. And
I'll tell you, a lot of people, I see people with 20 tokens. Make sure you have a good way of keeping track of these things. People have 20 tokens. I don't know how you keep track of it. You may not lose your money by the price going down. You may lose it because you lose your secret key and it's gone. There's no way to retrieve it.
Yes. How do you use Bitcoins to spend? You're buying hold. A lot of people with Bitcoin specifically, Bitcoin's like gold 2.0. A lot of people are just holding it just like you would hold gold as a store of value, as a hedge against inflation.
And a lot of people are saying, they're like, geez, well, we're not spending it. I can't go to Starbucks and buy a coffee. To me, I don't know what inning, but it seems to me buying, McDonald's or Starbucks with cryptocurrency might be 8th inning, 7th inning, and we're in the 2nd inning. There are use cases that are launching now, and a lot that'll be launching in a year or two. But as far as everybody just spending crypto for purchasing basic things, that's coming further down the line. But that just the Bitcoin, the main use value lately has been people in a country where they have nowhere to put their money could put it into Bitcoin.
Yes.
That was a use case that's pretty big, and that might not last forever, but that was... that was something. So I can't use it in Starbucks, but someone in Venezuela who has some money has somewhere to put their money.
So let's talk about this. One of the biggest things that I've seen, the biggest dangers, I think, I come from a finance background. I work for GE Capital. Like I've been around this thing called money for a few days, a few years. You got to think about it this way. Like here's your portfolio, right? Most people are going to keep a good bit of money in cash, okay? Now here, you might call this cash equivalents. So this is just whatever. If you live in the US dollars. If you live in, England, it's GBP, or Europe, it's the euro and all that, okay? Most people keep the majority of their liquid net worth, or somewhat liquid net worth, in just cash, like you have a checking account or a savings account, okay? Then other people... You have some of your money in equivalents. Now, equivalents can be, for example, like a CD at a bank. That's a cash equivalent. It's not cash per se. Even you could call money markets like this. There's money markets. Technically, they're not cash, but they're somewhat safe. And then you have these smaller things. And for people, real estate has been a huge one. Okay, RE. I just had 2 kids on here, 21 years old, making $100,000 a month. Okay, net in real estate. So that can be a portion. Now over here, and by the way, this money is coming from either your job. We could draw another pie over here. Like for me, I have my revenue, my income comes from many sources. I looked yesterday, I made money in from 29 different sources. 29 different, but I didn't start out that way. So I started out with 0 sources of income. I was unemployed, sleeping on a couch in a mobile home. So I was 0. Then I figured out how to get 1 source of income. I got into sales. So I got commissions. Then I added nightclub business. Then I had 2 sources of income. Then I added 2 nightclubs. So those were 2 separate ones. One was in Raleigh, North Carolina. It was a place called the Red Room. Every Thursday night, I have revenue from that. And then I had one in Chapel Hill called Spice Street. It was a club/restaurant that I had partnered with the owner. And so I had another source of, so that's another conversation. We're not having that today. We're talking about the money from your job or other, if you're an entrepreneur, from your income. It comes here and you hold it in certain ways. Cash, some equivalent to cash, even in technically savings account, you would put as an equivalent because you usually don't, like your debit card isn't tied to your savings. You have to transfer it to cash. So you got real estate. Then traditionally you've had gold. Smart people, what they didn't teach us in school, wealthy people teach their sons and daughters that you keep some of your money in gold. Okay? There's about $7 trillion, I think, in value in the world in gold. And then some people would put it in silver, which is a smaller, blah, blah. But there's this new alternative, which is crypto. And these are basically digital forms of money that do not come from any one company. Any one country. They're not backed by the Federal Reserve. They're not backed by, EU has their big board that determines. So what Dave's saying is, for most people, this probably makes sense to put, it could be a small sliver. It could be a large sliver. You decide. But why would you want to miss out on anything? I mean, why would you want to miss out on all of it? Why would you want to buy 0? Somebody said you forgot platinum. Most people are not buying platinum, just so you know. Somebody said, all crypto will plummet. I hope Bitcoin goes to $1. I will buy all Bitcoin in the world for $1.
Also, this market, when anything goes up this fast, it could fall by 50% tomorrow. And I remember a while ago when I had Bitcoin, it was going up, and then, it went down by 30%, and everyone's calling me, how's your Bitcoin? How's your Bitcoin? I'm like, it's up 50% from 2 months ago. But anyways, it can fall, but the thing to remember...
What kind of friends do you have that call you and go,
people love that. Yeah.
You have the world's worst friends.
I guess so. No, that's my cousin. I can't help it. He's my cousin. But Wall Street hasn't gotten in yet. So, and they're lining up. So as that, what's his name? Rob Novogratz. He's sort of the bringing in the Wall Street people. As he says, the herd is coming, and they're not in yet. So if it could certainly go down, and Bitcoin, remember, when it was at 1,000, went down, and it's at 200.
Somebody said Dave's the type of guy to buy Bitcoin at 15 grand. He bought Bitcoin at $300, bitch. What are you talking about? You're talking about the wrong guy. This is a kid that probably has 7 cents in his bank account trying to don't look. I bring on guys that know how to fucking make more money than most people. So if you want to attack Dave, maybe attack him for his shirt or something. If you don't like his style, don't say Dave doesn't know how to make money.
I don't know.
This guy, somebody said Ethereum is dead. Oh my God! I need to screenshot all. Here, people don't like. People go, the end of the world is coming. Some people love Donald Trump. Some people don't. Ethereum is not dead.
Transaction growth for Ethereum a year ago from today was doing 50,000 transactions a day. Today, it's almost at 1 million. That's a 2,000% growth rate of transactions.
Yeah. If anything's going to die, it's probably not Ethereum.
And all of these other platforms that are going to destroy Ethereum, how fast do you have to grow to overtake a platform that's growing at 2,000%? I mean...
Yes. One of my people I consider mentor, Brock Pierce, he's the chairman of the Bitcoin Foundation. He said, look, if you want to be super safe, you just start at the top of the market cap and you make your way down. So you start buying Bitcoin. Then number 2, you buy ETH, and then you go down and you can get Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin. You can do that. That's an approach to do. And then you can buy some of the smaller penny, quote unquote, cryptos if you want to do that. Because the odds are Bitcoin will bubble and bounce around, but so does real estate. So does the internet. So does business. So does fucking Apple. So does Warner Brothers bought Disney. Like, this is just like, welcome to the world. I actually, part of me gets bothered by the ignorance in the world when I read comments, but part of me is actually sad because I realized the full-fledged scamming of the population of planet Earth is complete in the fact that people don't have basic financial knowledge. Like, there's literally 90% of the world goes, if something goes down, you lost. Like, what is wrong with you? Have you never heard of, I just want to ask everybody, every reporter that goes, Bitcoin's going to crash. So what? Have you never heard of this? You never heard in how many goddamn years you've been on planet Earth? You never heard buy low, sell high? Never? Never? What? Like, I just want to know. I once went on a date with a girl. I'll never forget. Santa Monica. I'm at the Santa Monica Promenade. We're at first date, talking to her. She was a really pretty woman. I go, yeah, I got to go to Miami next week. She goes, Miami, where's that? I remember going, this date is over. She goes, I've heard of that once before. She was an adult, okay? This is like a 25-year-old. I was like, let me get this straight. You have lived on planet Earth for 25 years, and you cannot fathom the general location, not the latitude and longitude, of Miami. You didn't know it's in Florida? I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I didn't say that to her, but in my head, I was like, I'm out. And so there's people that go, oh, Bitcoin's going to go down. That's what you want.
You know, Brock Pierce.
You only lose when you sell.
Brock Pierce said something I thought, because back when Bitcoin was at $300 for a while, and down from 1,000 and not moving, and he said, he didn't lose faith because he saw, the amount of smart people coming in, the amount of energy of people working on this, the transactions per day growing. The real thing was growing. That's what's most important. The price can go up and down. It can be wrong high. It can be wrong low. But you watch the fundamentals, and if the fundamentals are good and it's growing and some of the smartest people in the world are getting into it, that's a good sign in the long run. But it could fall tomorrow, and like Ty says,
good.
That's awesome. I hope so.
What do they teach in high school nowadays? I mean, my high school taught me nothing, learned nothing. But I'm like, what are they teaching? They don't have a fucking class called buy low, sell high. They only have a class that goes, good things always go up forever. Like, what is wrong? You know what Warren Buffett does? Warren Buffett has $200 billion in cash in his company. So he knows a thing or two about making money, right? He has $200,000 million. And this is what he says. He goes, I wait. When Coca-Cola drops, I look at it. Is there something wrong with Coca-Cola? Do people still drink Coca-Cola? Is it still utilized by people? Yes. So they're doubting it, but I don't doubt it. I'm so happy it dropped. And when Coca-Cola dropped down, he bought more shares of Coca-Cola than any human on the planet Earth. He's like, give it to me. And then all of a sudden, Coca-Cola goes up because people still drink it. And who looks like a genius? So what happens is, all people saying Bitcoin's going to go down, good. And if it goes up, good. That's one of the things you'll learn in the program that Dave actually teaches, is the concept of dollar cost averaging, which is not unique to cryptocurrency. This has been taught in stock market, the way that you buy in the market for 10, 20, 30 plus years. But if you apply it, then you make money on the way up and you make the money on the way down, and it averages out to better than if you try to just time the market and wait for it to go up or wait for it to go down.
Or I call it spreading your time risk, because
yes.
if in fact, OMG is one that I kind of like.
Yeah, let's talk about number two, OMG.
I wanted to, but just on that point, I wanted to get a little bit more. I own some. I own the token. I looked at it today. It's up 50% today. When I saw up 50%, I said, oh, damn it.
So talk about
because
this.
I want to buy. How do you, Well, OMG, I love Stellar and Ethereum because they've been up for years doing great with lots of metrics you can look at. OMG, Omise, is a credit card processing company in Southeast Asia that's been around for 3 years. So it is a real company. And the people in charge there's super smart guys who work directly with Vitalik Buterin on Ethereum to create this plasma
Someone
sidechain.
just said OMJ got pumped by EtherKid. It's not EtherKid. I think he's talking about Vitalik. Probably wouldn't call him EtherKid.
Listen, everything's going up. And why did it go up? But Anyways, they're building a payment processing platform that looks really cool, and you're going to be able to stake your OMG and the proof of stake system, earn some interest off of it. The team is great. They are working with McDonald's, and apparently there's other announcements coming soon of other companies they're working with. This proof of stake thing hasn't launched yet, and the platform hasn't launched yet. So I'm sort of going slowly. That's why I was sad to see it go up by 50% today.
See, when things go up, smart people are sad.
Yes. I saw 50% and it said, damn it.
Yeah.
So, but that is, and one of the reasons too I was liking it is because, Stellar's gone up 800%. Ethereum just doubled last 2 weeks. OMG was one that hadn't moved. So I was, and I like it. I'm trying to get into it. But that's one really to watch. And it's interesting. A new thing that I think will be bigger, maybe in a year from now, are being able to earn sort of an interest or dividend or some sort of payment on your token, either from doing work or just by staking it. But even with the staking on OMG, you're going to have to run a node. So there's a little way to earn more on your coin. And I think that's going to be an interesting way.
There's
to make
different
money.
ways. You have mining, like, the way that you have it on Bitcoin, and you have other things like proof of storage and proof of stake and ways. Yeah. Verifying these transactions, methodologies to make sure. That's how cryptocurrency works. It's in a way, it's more secure. The U.S. dollar is still backed by the U.S. government, which many people feel makes it very secure, and there's some truth to that. But there's also some truth to the fact that the U.S. dollar and currency, if you don't believe this, my grandma is 99 years old. She's born in Germany. I'm half German. She's born in Berlin, Germany in 1918, February 1918. World War I was still going on. When she was a small girl, basically the economy in Germany was one of the wealthiest countries in the world, somewhat similar to the United States. In some ways, Germany was more advanced back then than the United States. And its currency became hyperinflated. And my grandma remembers money was worthless. And in the U.S., if you look at the United States, we have a system that's not tied to gold. It's basically controlled by a group of people, men and women, Federal Reserve. It's complicated. I mean, it's not just a few, Rothschilds or a few Illuminati people. There's a supply and demand based on, we sell debt into China. There's a lot of factors. But the point is, there's danger and there's risk to even holding all your money in dollars. If you ask any economist, if you ask any intelligent, there's always risk. Now, the U.S. dollar may be the most current safe place to hold your money if you ask some people, and other people would disagree. There's potential inflation issues. There's potential. We have a huge debt to China. If you look
just
at
the size of the debt in
and
general,
the
amount
massive.
of money
Social
that's
security.
been printed. Remember, we used to talk about, like, everybody thought that government debt and government printing, Federal Reserve printing money, this is going to be a big problem. Now it's like, we don't worry about it. And that's how many trillions of dollars of risk in what could be a bubble versus cryptocurrency, which is only 500 billion. It is so small.
Yes.
To me, and in fact, I have someone who's a very successful private equity guy. He was very skeptical of this, and he's like, "Oh, read this book. This time is different." It's not a bad book, but as I'm reading it, it's just making me think. Look at the size of our government debt. I don't see the problem in the cryptocurrency. Now, listen. Cryptocurrency, it could fall 50% tomorrow.
I hope so.
Easily. But to just think that's the only place with risk.
If you guys want to start a run on Bitcoin so that a crash happens, I will be very happy. People are like, Ty, are you doing a pump and dump? I'm like, no, I'd rather do a freaking crash and crash and grab. I want to invest in new things. If anyone knows how to crash the price of Bitcoin back down to $1 or even $100, the thing's going to go back up.
They just started the futures, and there's an incentive. They can make money by shorting, and maybe someone's going to really try to make this market fall, and then it would fall a lot. But that's not going to change the fundamentals of platforms that are going to change the way we operate and can run businesses.
Dude, look, Peter Thiel, Bill Gates, even Janet Yellen. They're like, this thing's big. It ain't stopping. Okay, somebody said, can you explain Coinbase? Coinbase is the largest exchange. I mean, Coinbase is massive, but you can't buy all the different coins on there. So Coinbase You can buy basically the big. They're going to add some more. They're getting ready to add.
Yeah, Coinbase is
stuff.
New York regulated with lots of money. They're not going to steal your money. Right now, all you can get is Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. Also, when you get in
they're adding Ethereum-based coins on there, though.
They're supposedly adding lots of new coins soon. But also, when you get in there, just so you know, if you order with a credit card, there's high fees. If you order through your bank account, it's a little lower. If you wire money, what is that?
Dave's so fun. Dave loves food more than any of my friends.
Thirsty.
He's in the middle of a conversation.
Crypto. I like. Well, you asked me in the middle of a conversation.
But this is some people. If you're like, hey, you want a drink? I'll just think. He goes. So it's the most regulated. What is this?
It's coconut. Well, also, I don't know what you're giving me here.
That was great. Sorry, keep going. That was a very good conversation.
Yeah. So Coinbase. What I saw somewhere, I haven't tried this myself. So they also own GDAX, GDAX.com. I think if you're in Coinbase and you wire money and then you go to GDAX, you can order, and if you do limit orders, you can order with almost no fees. I haven't tried that myself, but Coinbase can be one of the more expensive, not only with the fees, but the price on Coinbase is often much higher than on other exchanges. But that whole, also the arbitrage thing, people like trying to send a coin to another exchange and sell it, very tricky for a number of reasons.
Yeah, for most of you, look, if you don't know what to do, keep it simple. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. You can start by just going on Coinbase, and you can just start there. It's the most it's got insurance, basically. Okay, there have been instances where exchanges have disappeared and people have lost the money or gotten frozen in it. So if you're look, let's face it. So I had William on here he's one of the people teaching in the program. And he's been doing day trading since he's 11 years old. He now, of course, has switched over to crypto. He makes, he doesn't like to say the amount, but he makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a month trading. Okay, and what was interesting is he said, look, man, I'm crazy. I fear nothing. So he's more aggressive. You got to know yourself. If you fear nothing, you don't have to use Coinbase. But know yourself and be honest. If you have a lot of anxiety and you wake up, if you lose $3, you have a heart attack, then you're more likely to want to use something like Coinbase. You're paying a little higher fees, but the fees are going to insure the whole damn thing. So you got to kind of know.
I remember, too, I was looking on Coinbase, and then I was looking on Bitstamp, and I saw Coinbase. The price was like $500 more on Coinbase, but I had some money there, and I was thinking, well, should I buy? And that was one of the things is like, geez, do you buy it somewhere when it's that much more expensive? Maybe I want to get money to Bitstamp. It was at like $5,000. By the end of the day, it was up like $2,000. So the fee sort of didn't even matter. A lot of this is just timing is way more important anyways than your fees and getting the right thing.
Yes. So let's talk about this. So overall strategy so OMG is a second of the three coins we're talking about today that Dave has been buying. We're not necessarily recommending you buy it. We're literally just being transparent. I'm like, Dave, just be transparent. What are you buying?
And the things I look at things that are for real, that have already launched, that have leaders, that have a track record, that are winners. And then I look at the business model. Does this look like something that can really grow? And, OMG, but, proof of stake you wrote, which is one of the first things to try to understand is what this distributed ledger, what that means. Once you understand that, that's sort of the foundation of everything. And there's different ways to maintain the distributed ledger, which is sort of the database. Proof mining is the original way with Bitcoin, which is very slow and expensive and uses a lot of energy. Proof of stake is all it requires is that you just stake money. And so if you try to screw the system, you lose your money.
Yes.
It's just a lot faster and a lot easier and doesn't use all that energy.
Yeah,
and
you can get deeper and deeper into the difference between proof of work, proof of storage.
Yeah.
Don't worry for those of you. You got all your life to learn. I tell people, people get frozen because they go, I don't understand every single thing. There's nobody on planet Earth who understands every single part of cryptocurrency and blockchain. Trust me, it's complicated. Like the hashing and all the algorithms around security, it's coming out of only a few people at MIT, and they really understand it. So you don't have to just think about the internet. Do you really understand what 256-bit SSL encryption are? But you still buy on Amazon. Do you understand every single protocol that's used to make the internet work? No, but you can still use it. So it's very important that you learn enough that you're competent, but there's such a thing as paralysis by over-analysis. So some of you have paralysis by over-analysis. You're going to literally go, okay, Ty, I will get into this once I understand everything. I must understand. And remember, it gets more complicated. There's not just proofs of stake. There's centralized things, and there's decentralized. EOS is doing it a different way. I mean, you can literally lose your mind, but you don't need to. You need to remember that when you that you need to think but not overthink. You need to think but not overthink. Some of you aren't thinking at all. That's this end of the spectrum. And some of you are overthinking. Right in the middle is where you want to be.
And it's good to, if you know what you don't know, is better than not knowing what you don't know. Because like with this Ethereum, I listened to Vitalik Buterin talk about, he wants the Ethereum network, all of it running on laptops. And so the opposite of that is EOS, their plan is 12 giant data centers.
Yes.
So both are kind of decentralized, but very different types of decentralization. Which one is better? Is which one going to work?
Both win.
And who knows? That's where it gets. But at least you know to know whether,
but there's different uses.
Yeah, there's going to be different use cases.
There's protocol. So look, this is something, for those of you in the program, thank you, Maya. There's protocols. Not all of these. So like a protocol, like Bitcoin with a capital B, this is a protocol, right? And there's other protocols like Ethereum. And then there's, like EOS would be another one, right? And then there's things like Qtum, which are like new ones. Now, think of a protocol. It's hard to give a perfect analogy, but one analogy would be these serve different purposes. So Bitcoin is probably, so I'm working on some big deals and I've got the top lawyers in the world that are specifically crypto lawyers. The very hardest ones to get, I've been lucky enough to get working for me. So I was at dinner with one of them and I was talking, this is a guy involved in most of the deals, every single deal you can think of as the lead lawyer in a lot of them. And he said, look, Bitcoin, this is a store of value. It's big. It's probably going to stick around. When you look at Ethereum it's what people are building other companies off of. So there's things called ICOs, and a lot of them are building off because this thing has this smart contracts thing. And there's a ton, more than we can even name, that are coming off here. Now, EOS is trying to serve probably, and there's some overlap, a different purpose. And I talked to Brock about this, who's the founder of EOS. So, EOS...
So EOS is a little less decentralized, which allows it to be less expensive and faster. Ethereum, though, is because it's more decentralized and possibly that makes it more secure. The businesses with identity tracking, renting out space on your computer. There's so many businesses being built on Ethereum, and one of the things with buying Ethereum, in a sense, it's almost like buying a fund, because a lot of times I see a new business idea. I just saw one of the new coins to pop up is this event coin, building some system with ticketing for events, and it looks cool. It's being built on Ethereum. So I'm like, well, if it's successful, that is a proof of concept for Ethereum again. And so it's easier to own Ethereum and hope that some of these companies are successful than pick one company that is successful.
Jabbar here on the live stream said, Bitcoin is gold and Ethereum is fuel. Okay, I mean, that's fine. There's different analogies we can do. This is a bunker at your house, and this is a fucking, Ferrari. I mean, you can make up lots of. This one is coconut water, and this one is apple juice.
Well, I think Ethereum and EOS are
weird ones just to confuse weird people.
These are platforms. Bitcoin is just
this
a coin.
This is cucumbers. This is hamburgers. Let's see if that throws anybody off here.
Exactly.
I want somebody writing in. This dude knows nothing. He said Ethereum is hamburgers. You're right. Always torture people who torture you. That's not really, but it's kind of fun. People get it's funny. I actually do it more because it is kind of funny. No, it's hot dogs, crypto kitties, Civic.
So identity is
Crypto is a
big
fad.
business.
Which is pizza? Pizza is Litecoin. For those of you listening later, this makes no sense what I'm saying, but I don't know. Maybe you'll remember it that way. Ripple is oatmeal. But a better analogy maybe is, Bitcoin is gold you could use. I guess Ethereum, I think a better thing, Ethereum's like Shopify too. Like Shopify, you can build stores on top of. So I'm serious now. I'm not on the oatmeal thing anymore.
I like, in general, even before blockchain, platforms I find to be more valuable and you can make more money than just than something that builds on the platform. So
that's why you protocols, technical term, this platform thing. You like Ripple and forks off Ripple and stuff like that, like Stellar.
It's that people are building on top of.
Yeah.
I find that those things can grow larger than, and if you have just a coin, like Zcash is a coin that has privacy, but now Ethereum has built-in privacy, and you can just make a coin on Ethereum, and then coins are becoming a commodity. There's the one thing that can hurt you may not go to zero, but if you invest in something and it becomes a commodity, everyone can just do it. It's not as good of it.
There you go. Bitcoin is nails. Ethereum is a house. I don't know if that's exactly right, but that's Amy L. Jones on Facebook. That's somewhat right. Someone said Ethereum is slow. So Crypto Kitties. Did you see this Crypto Kitties thing? Basically just crashing Ethereum. But you know what? It's like Coinbase. When you see things crashing, sometimes that's a good sign. That means so many people are using it.
Yeah.
Like I've launched businesses once in a while. I wish this happened to me more often. I saw this happen to Kylie Jenner. Kylie Jenner launched her makeup company, and she crashed Google Analytics. And she made $430 million in 18 months under 21 years old. It's a good problem to have. So a lot of these problems are problems of scale, which are understandable because like Coinbase was getting, how many new people were getting on the exchange?
Like 100 or 300,000 a day.
Yeah, it's like hundreds of thousands of people. So Ethereum's getting slow. One of the things that I'm really seeing here in the comments, this is why I like to do live calls. I kind of get the vibe of today's audience. And we'll probably hit at least 50,000 people across Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter combined will be in here. So the vibe that I'm feeling, because every live call I do is different. The vibe I'm feeling here is a lot of people really attached to their idea. So I just want to play devil's advocate. For those of you attached, because I see people typing in here, Ripple and IOTA and, Ether's going to die, Ethereum's going to die, or it's going to get better, or like all these things. So I don't want to argue or agree with anybody. I got a different question for you. Where did you get the evidence with which you've based this opinion on? So just some of you somebody mentioned Civic, Vinny Lingam, Steam, all these, can you back it up? Like, what's your reason? For example, I talked about Qtum yesterday, which doubled basically overnight, $1 billion, I think, in market cap. Qtum, I had the lead initial investor in Qtum, which is a Southeast Asian, it's another protocol, kind of like Neo, but he says it's better. He told me, listen to me, Ty, when we were off camera, he's like, I have been around the blockchain. I have been around these companies. The best team I've seen of coders is the Qtum team. So that's it's not insider information because that's illegal, but it's information, because we were sharing it publicly, information from a direct source. So what is your direct source? Because I feel like, unfortunately, with the mass media the way it is, people read some article and go, oh, this is right. Trust me. Big people like Jamie Dimon, a lot of people heard Jamie Dimon say, oh, the Bitcoin is what do you say? It's a scam. Fraud. Yeah. Well, how much has it gone up since he said that? It was at $3,000.
Yeah, tripled maybe.
Yeah, it's tripled or quadrupled. I'm telling you, I got buddies. I had a buddy the other day. Forget what day of the week it was, but within 5 days, he made $4.5 million in one day. And he's pushing this into fiat cash. So it's real money. So my question is, like, do you want to base it on just Jamie Dimon? Like, is that your proof? Kind of like, you know how these protocols are based on how you prove things? The reason I love blockchain is more than just cryptocurrency. I love blockchain in the sense that it's going to revolutionize probably how we buy houses. It'll probably revolutionize how we vote for people in the political system. If you could use blockchain and guarantee that there's no false votes, you know how like there was just this Roy Moore vote in Alabama and Doug Jones won and Roy Moore's party is saying, well, there was fake votes. Like with blockchain, there would be no fake.
Yeah.
So it's going to revolutionize how we elect our presidents. How you travel. You were talking about IOTA and weren't you talking about
supply chain?
Supply chain. How you get your packages from FedEx. Like,
see, but FedEx is. I was talking to someone when they have, when you get a container from some part of the world, it goes through 6 different companies and nobody communicates, and they never know where it is until it shows up. By using blockchain, you could have one source where you're able to track the package all the way through. It doesn't sound like an easy problem to solve, but we finally have the technology to be able to do that.
Yes. Cool thing about crypto, and this is an interesting thing. There's a good or bad thing. The stock market, if you were a day trader, Monday opens up, 8 in the morning does the market start? 9 in the morning? I always do it because I'm in California. It's a different time thingy, right?
9:30 a.m. East Coast.
Yeah.
So
you got to wake up early if you live here on the West Coast.
4 p.m.
That's why I never like day trading. I'm like, I don't want to always wake up at 6:30 in the morning.
If you're a trader, I'm buy and hold. Remember, one advantage to buy and hold is lifestyle. Yeah. These markets open 24/7, and it's
crypto's 24/7.
Yeah. I mean, you sleep like this with your phone. Good time to buy. It might happen to be 2 a.m. in the morning or during dinner. It's crazy.
But the good news is, like, a lot of people don't pay attention. So whether holidays are coming up, whether whatever's coming up, you could be making money all the way through it. And you can be learning all the way through it. This is a cool thing, and you got to know how. It's a double-edged sword, like you said. You could fall asleep and miss out on something, but there's ways around it. You can set automated rules.
But what I do, okay, this is something I want to accumulate. You watch it, and if some things will go down 10, 20%, 1 or 2 days in a row, and you watch it, and you happen to be home, and it's a convenient time you buy, you can't stress yourself out about buying the absolute bottom and, at every moment, but there's crazy opportunities.
All right, let's talk about this third coin. Can you flip this page? I promise you we talk about 3 non-Bitcoin coins that Dave is investing in. I can't tell you, we don't give recommendations in the sense of telling you, we promise you this will make you money. Anybody who does that's an idiot. What we tell you, what Dave's telling you, is what he's doing.
I'm just researching, and these are things. So we mentioned the Stellar. I'm looking at OMG. Recently started buying that one. The next one you may think is a little boring, but Ethereum. There's nothing wrong with buying. Bitcoin has the largest market cap, but Ethereum is huge. It's a platform that's growing quickly. The team, Vitalik Buterin is, one of the geniuses. And
so write it up there. 3 Ethereum. People like when you're right.
Ethereum, ETH. It's easy to buy. You can get it on Coinbase. It's available on almost every exchange. And if you want to watch this Vitalik Buterin, if you get into the weeds, he goes into detail. People are like, well, Ethereum's slow. Someone posted that comment. Yeah, like Ty says, transactions grew 2,000% this year. But they have plans for scaling that are happening, and it's real, and it's not like the hard part, Satoshi Nakamoto, or whoever that is, he figured it out how to do this consensus algorithm. Now everyone's just tweaking and scaling and improving it, and Ethereum is going to get faster by like 100x every year. There's so many companies, so many smart people building on it, and it is one of the largest. And if, people say IOTA is going to pass it, and Quantum's going to beat it, or EOS are going to kill it. You'll see when it's like a horse race, and you want to have one that's going to keep running fast. It's so far ahead, running so fast. If something else is catching, we'll see that, and you could transition. But right now, it's one of the, I just feel, one of the safer ones. Maybe it doesn't go up, it doesn't double every week, like Stellar just did. But sometimes I like to look at not how much can this go up, but how much can it go down? And these can all go down a lot tomorrow. But Ethereum is not going away, as opposed to some platform that's supposed to launch in a year. This thing has been up. It's stable and growing, and to me, it just feels safe. And for this industry, I'm used to the stock market where you feel like it's just you want something that's going to grow for a long time. And in this, our expectations, we start to look for, well, what's going to go up 10% per day every day? And maybe that's not going to happen with Ethereum. But the ecosystem, the platform, the amount of people involved, the amount of companies building on it, it's growing and growing. So I feel good owning
a lot of
piece.
things would have to crash for Ethereum to stop being used, because most of the ICOs, not all of them, are being built around or on top of Ethereum. So a lot of people have to fail for that one. It's not a guarantee it won't fail. What Dave's saying is, if you want to have a larger market cap token to put some money in, Ethereum, that's not Bitcoin. Ethereum is the second largest market cap in the world. Now, let's just show you some charts here.
And just one thing, when you compare it, Bitcoin's bigger. The reason I'm not as bullish on Bitcoin is, who's the leader? What's the scaling plan? Bitcoin, it's a community. They're fighting. It's not the coin. The technology is not really progressing and upgrading. Ethereum had a hard fork a couple months ago. They had the planned hard fork. It went through on time. And if you look at there's this bitinfocharts.com is really good. You can see the day they did the fork, the speed, time per block just dropped. All these metrics immediately improved. You don't see that with Bitcoin. When they had the fork, the SegWit 2x, I don't know, nothing changed. It's still the same slow speed. It's, at the end of the day, some of these, you got to look at them as just, it's a software platform. You need a team with a roadmap, with a track record of launching and making improvements. And I see that happening in Ethereum. So I don't know. I don't see this thing, it going down. It certainly isn't going down right now.
Yeah, let's look at a price graph of Ethereum. So if you had looked in the last, let's look at the last, what should we do?
In the last year, wasn't it at its 90 cents like a year ago?
1 year. I got a true story. So William was here yesterday. He's one of the people who teaches in the program, been a day trader since he's 11. He told his dad to put, his dad is an investor. He told his dad, put $2 million into Ether at 90 cents. It would have been $1.2 billion today. And his dad, he said he calls his dad every day to make fun of him. He's like, Dad, I told you. But William bought. So there's Ethereum. It shot, you can see here is a 1 year chart. I don't know if you can see that. It's there's 700. You can see the movement. You can see it dropped over time. So you had to be a believer to stick and not sell when it dropped. But let's just say in October, it was at $300 and now it's at 700. So what he's saying is that it's okay to look at some of the larger market cap tokens and buy them. You don't have, some people, it's kind of like music. Some people ain't gonna like Coldplay because they're a hipster and they're like, Coldplay's a sellout. Some people don't like Drake. They're like XXS Tentacion or whatever because they're like, Drake is... Some people just hate the mainstream, which is okay. I mean, if you're a hipster investor, great. But better is to be smart. I always tell people, what do you want to be, right or rich?
Or
right or rich?
Or people are looking for the one that no one knows and it's worth nothing and it's going to shoot up. You can make more money, but that's hard to do.
Yeah.
As opposed to picking out, which album is going to be good. The new band you never heard of, and if it is, wow, that's amazing. Or the next Coldplay album. It's sort of a no-brainer.
Yep. So I think that it's critical. Somebody's asking about Steam here. Will Steam kill YouTube? Oh, I don't think so. YouTube, Steam's kind of like, we're back to our analogy of cucumbers and buttermilk biscuits. Steam, is like kind of powering a Reddit, decentralized Reddit. YouTube is, how much content's uploaded to YouTube? killing YouTube would be a biatch. And maybe it'll happen sometime. I don't think it's going to happen.
This whole killing thing, it's like when the internet started, it was like, it's it's changing communication, but there's still telephone companies, like a lot of the companies that were around are still around. It just now a lot of it is done through the internet, and the internet is the main place. So this is going to be a new platform, and there may be a new way of delivering video, and maybe some video delivery blockchain-based system becomes bigger than YouTube, but they'll probably still be YouTube. Or maybe YouTube is the one that develops this blockchain video system.
Yeah, one of my people that I consider a mentor, Brock Pierce, I was just talking to him this month about where's this thing going to go, and he's very, very, very optimistic that the internet will be replaced by blockchain. And because the internet is inherently insecure, when they built the fundamental kind of groundwork of the internet, the foundation, it's insecure, whereas, the whole concept of blockchain is highly secure. So he says it will replace how we use the internet and websites as we know it. So,
a lot of these things too, we're talking a 5-10 year story.
Yes.
So replacing YouTube, rebuilding the internet. These things are going to take 10 years. So that's the other thing where you want to get educated. You want to know, maybe you want to put a little money in, but you don't have to get in right now. And we could eventually get to some period where for a year, like prices don't move. And there's another time to get in. When the web was created, nobody was saying, oh my God, I can't wait to make so much money on social media. We didn't even know it as a term. That wasn't even for 10 years after the web started. So there's going to be things that we haven't even thought of yet that are going to be huge. And so there's sort of no rush. And that's one of the things, too. I like to think, one of the main things you want to avoid is getting kicked out of the game, putting all your money in and losing it, and you're sort of out of it. Take your time, and you don't want to get kicked out. But you also don't want to miss the whole thing either. So
somebody said the planet doesn't even have 10 years. So Nina Adams is predicting planet Earth will be gone. Hey, it's possible.
Well,
then you don't need money
for $4 billion.
But you don't need money.
Within the next 10, it's going to be gone. That's a high risk bet.
Hey, but the way to think about that is, if planet Earth is gone in 10 years, then who cares?
Right.
Who cares?
Then roll the dice. You might as well.
What platform do you use to trade Stellar? You said you're using.
I buy it on Bittrex and Poloniex.
Yeah, Bittrex and Poloniex come up. When I talk to the smartest people in the industry, the whales, Bittrex, Poloniex, Binance, these are coming up. So I can tell you from talking to smart people, that is a very, those exchanges are kind of popping up the most right now.
They're not great, and I wouldn't leave your money on it for a long time.
It's like Polonia. It's like everybody uses it, but nobody likes it. Yeah. They consider it a little bit shady.
You submit to customer service, they'll reply in 3 weeks. If you're lucky, So be
One
careful.
thing you should understand that's very important is that the fact that there's inefficiencies, that Coinbase takes a long time, that you can't always get your money out. The inefficiencies create the profit. Because the second it becomes as efficient as the stock market, New York Stock Exchange, you're going to have huge hedge funds come in with massive algorithmic trading. That's why you don't want to be in too late, because it gets too hard to make money. For the most part, the only people making money in the stock market right now are mass institutions, hedge fund guys, and even they don't always make money. For the most part, the average consumer is making less than 5% on their 401k and their IRA. And you know why? Well, because it's a sophisticated game and it's too efficient now. So the beauty of this cryptocurrencies and things like, the exchanges being slow and this and that and harder to get your money out, those inherently create opportunity. If you're a little more patient than the average person, if you're a little, willing to invest a little more time than the average person, there is potentiality for you. So never, like Elon Musk says, you get paid in proportion to the difficulty of problems you solve. Tesla solved a hard problem. Ford, Chevrolet, Toyota have been working on a mass-produced, non-gasoline car, and they haven't been able to pull it off. Elon Musk does it, and now his company, since 2008 to now, in 10 years, is more valuable than Ford Motors, which has been around for over a century. So he solved a difficult problem. Now, we're not talking about you making as much money as Elon Musk. What I'm saying is the fact that there's some level of difficulty.
Yeah, we are early. The thing that's interesting with this is all of these projects require a token to function. Yeah. So imagine with Google, when they launched at Stanford University, if it required a token that's, distributed and tradable, you could have invested in Google when they launched in Stanford. They didn't even start selling on pay-per-click for 4 years later, and then were public 7 years after that. So one reason things are going up so fast and are so volatile and it's so crazy is because it's so early. And we're before Wall Street. Usually, there's the angel investor, the venture capital, the private equity, the IPO, and then we can get in. This time, this is the first time ever Main Street is in before Wall Street.
That's because this is threatening the underlying concept of money. So Wall Street is not quick to adapt to things that threaten the very underpinning of how they've built a system. So that's what happened with Microsoft. They were passed up by Apple. Microsoft, Bill Gates was the #1 company in the world. He was the wealthiest man in the world for 17 years straight. He missed the internet because what he was selling was basically programs that you would download to your computer. Things like Excel, Word. That's how they were making their money, right? PowerPoint. So when a new concept came in of cloud computing, which is what the internet is basically become, like now you don't download applications to your computer as much. If you want to use QuickBooks, there's QuickBooks Online. If you want to use even Excel, you use Google Drive or Google Sheets. So because it threatened Microsoft, Bill Gates was slow to adopt it, and Apple and other companies, Amazon, have surpassed them. So if you're interested in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and want to learn how to make money with Bitcoin, I'm opening up a brand new Bitcoin Crypto Academy for you. Crypto is starting to fundamentally change everything from currencies to the very structure behind the internet. And if you don't understand it, you will be left behind. Remember, if you had put $100 into Bitcoin in 2010, you would have over $100 million right now. I don't want you to miss out on the coming opportunities offered by Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency space. So I brought in the best experts in the game, the people that are teaching me and training me, and I'm going to share that with you because it's not too late to understand Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and the blockchain and to make money with it. So to sign up for my new Bitcoin Crypto Academy and learn how to invest, how to make money in this new exciting space, I'm going to open up room for a few of you to have early access to the new online mentor mastermind. So go to tylopez.com/Bitcoin podcast to learn more. So I'm testing the mastermind. So I'm just going to let a few of you in at a low price. And it's already filling up quickly. So if you want to get in, I'll let a few of you in. So go to tylopez.com/Bitcoin podcast, all one word. tylopez.com/Bitcoin podcast. If the course is closed, when you get to the page, put in your name in the waiting list. You missed out on the first round. And if you see it, welcome to the group. Glad you didn't procrastinate. Okay, back to the show. What's happening with Jamie Dimon and the banking system and all this is that it's based and predicated around regulated control of money, centrally regulated at the Federal Reserve level, right? So it's a handful of people controlling interest rates and, interbank rates, how they loan money to each other, all these complex things where they analyze inflation and growth and they go, okay, we're going to change the way money moves. And trust me, Federal Reserve has tremendous power, not only just power in the United States, but global power, because what you do in the United States, it's a ripple effect, domino effect. It affects basically every country in the world. So what happens is this new thing, cryptocurrency, comes out. And all of a sudden, anybody can create something that's traded. It's not a currency per se, but it's traded and it has potential increase in everybody. You could come up, you could do an ICO. You've got a company, you could create something and build off, let's say something like Ethereum and build something and it's hard, a little bit harder now because there's not enough blockchain developers that are good that can actually do the coding, but it's getting better and more solutions are coming out. And what happens is all of a sudden the Federal Reserve is going to go, wait a second. How do we control this thing? The IRS is already going, wait a second. How do we tax this thing? That's the next big thing we haven't even talked about, IRS. And so what happens is they're not going to adopt it quick. I'm not surprised, Dave, that this is one trend they miss. It's not a stock. Wall Street doesn't miss the IPO of Snapchat, the IPO of Apple. The price is already priced in. The second that IPO launches, man, the price moves around to the equilibrium basic price of what a lot of smart institutions think. But you can't do that with this.
That's always been the path. It's like when, private equity, or Stellar Lumens that I like. If it wasn't for this system, I'm sure that whoever were the original investors in whatever Stellar was trying to do, nobody would have called me. There's no way I would have been an investor. But because it's such an open and free system, I was able to get in. And then there's so many people, just some educated person in Vietnam can go and start investing in something that could be the next big platform. Yeah, and I don't think things have moved this quickly before in front of, investment things have moved so much faster than Wall Street.
Yeah. An interesting thing that I read, 2 interesting stats I'm going to throw it out at you that's very interesting about crypto that I read this week. Number 1, if the world's wealthiest people put 1% of their assets into Bitcoin, just let's take Bitcoin. And so wealthy people put their money into gold, like a small percentage, okay? I've got a buddy that's worth, $4.1 billion, Forbes list guy, and we were just in Vegas together. He's got money in gold because he has a portfolio manager, and they usually put it into, it's funny, they were called alternative investments, oil, silver, blah, 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 real estate, all this. So if the world's wealthiest put 1% of their money, the price of Bitcoin should be at 60,000. Mm-hmm. That's 1%.
Yeah.
So there's precedent for potential increases in Bitcoin. That just for that. Number 2, that was an interesting fact. 60,000. Now, some people say Bitcoin could go to a million. Some people say it'll drop to 0. Blah, da, da, da. Number 2 interesting statistic. The main thing driving the price of these coins are Asian investors. Yeah. America's still slow to this thing. And I was in this article, I forget who wrote it, but the interesting hypothesis was that it's because in Asia, they're already used to kind of alternative payments because places like Visa, things like Visa and so on, and of course China has all this complicated communistic system. And so Asian investors are driving this. So that means what will happen when in mass Western countries getting, US, Canada, US alone has the GDP, has the wealth, gross domestic product, of the next 5 countries combined, Germany, Japan, the UK. The US could move this thing even more.
Yeah. And I also just think of, I remember, again, when the web started, you had this concept that, wow, eventually all books are going to be digital, and TV, instead of going over, whatever, it's going to be digital and through the internet. And we've seen so much of content become digitized. Now it's simply the trading of value. This is just a better technology. It's just a better way of managing the trading and sharing of value or scarce assets. And in the long run, most of it moves to this crypto technology. Can you pick the winner that captures a lot of that move? Might be the tricky part, but a lot of the old analog systems are moving digital.
One of the things that Dave said,
and it's barely started.
You like Ethereum because he considers Ethereum having a similar principle to the theory of mutual funds, in the sense that, when you buy, most mutual funds that you buy, depending on if they're active traded or if, they're like these index funds, most funds are diversified, and you feel like Ethereum's diversified because so many other companies are built on top of the technology.
Or it just feels safer than picking one company that's going to have the solution and it really grows, as opposed to picking Ethereum, which is a bet that some, or hopefully a group of companies, are going to build useful businesses on top of that platform. It's easier to sort of, that the platform would work rather than picking one winner.
Here's some free food for thought. If you invest in Bitcoin, take your wallet out and save it to an external safe drive. Lots of wallets getting stolen. Yeah, one of the things you guys are about to learn who got in the program, I've been reading off names, how to get set up in a simple way, in a secure way, how to set up your security, if you want to do it online, offline, how to authenticate. Don't use your phone number. Some are using your phone number as SMS double authentication, very dangerous. You'll learn from different mentors of mine. Like I said, Brock Pierce talks, and this is, the chairman of the Bitcoin Foundation. This is basically a crypto billionaire. No one knows exactly, but let's say 500 million plus. And he's talking about how he stores and how you should store. It's very important you get that, or else, some people are going to make money and lose it all.
Yeah,
that's already happened. Because this is more like cash.
Someone said, 10% of Bitcoins have been lost. Yes. I bet it's higher. I think there's also a lot of people who've lost their coins, like their secret key, and they don't even know they've lost it yet because they have so many and they don't know where it is. You need to be organized.
Yeah, without a doubt. Okay. Someone said, Richard says, buy Nano Ledger. That's one. That's Trezor, Nano Ledger. Okay, which one are you using?
I've used the Nano right now for my Ethereum. You can download this myetherwallet.com, which is it's just a web page. Nobody stores anything. MyEtherWallet just allows you to view your coins and your EC20 coins, and you can also send it from there. And so there's nothing that you can lose. Like even the Nano Ledger, I don't like as much because you could actually lose that. You could get another one. There's more to say. It's easy. Just online, view it, leave it on the blockchain. You can't lose it as long as you don't lose your secret key.
One of the things I've got, from Brock, and also I've got another friend that's a co-founder of one of the biggest coins out there. He doesn't want to come on public. A lot of these guys are worried a little bit about taxes. So some of these guys are friends of mine, but they're like, Ty, I can't go on your podcast. I can't go on your show, man. These guys are making, one of them was like, dude, I'm a scoundrel. I like to date strippers and da-da-da. He's like, I don't want to go on your show, but they'll give me advice. And these are dudes, 100 million plus. And they all agree, you want redundancy. So if you store it offline, don't just store it in one place. So if you got a lot of money, you might want to put it in a safe deposit box and a safe in your house. If you have $100, you may not need to do that. But those of you who are going to make a lot of money, you need to start thinking about, be ahead of the game. Be ahead of the game. All right, more. I see lots of good things coming in. Somebody said, the Empire approves, Ty. Okay, are you part of Star Wars cast? I've gotten approval from Darth Vader. Someone said Litecoin. So Litecoin, we talked about Litecoin. There's many opinions. Some people love Litecoin. I had Jeremy Gardner on yesterday. I mean, Litecoin is somewhat the darling right now that's being talked about because it's shot through the roof.
I've always talked about Litecoin. I'm like, it's a decent coin. It's been around. It works. But I was just like, it's very boring. What is the plan? I don't see it.
Well, Jeremy,
it's going to be a commodity. But then the price just tripled. So
Yes, some of this is bubble-ish movement, and some of it's... There's a saying that Warren Buffett says about investing. When the tide comes in, you'll see who's swimming naked. Meaning, some prices are moving up for no good damn reason. And I'm going to tell you what one of the people I look up to said yesterday on the live call, and I was talking to him. The reason he's not super excited about Litecoin, okay, and he said some smart people disagree with me. The founder of Litecoin is a very smart guy. He obviously would disagree, but he said, when you look at the code, Litecoin is a fork off of, it's a variation for those of you. I'm trying to not use like super technical lingo. Sometimes people go, Ty, you didn't say it exactly right. I'm doing that on purpose because we got lots of people out here. The whole point of the blockchain is to get a decentralized world where lots of people use it. So it kind of is a split off of Bitcoin, and it didn't, in Jeremy's opinion, change the technology that much. Whereas something like Bitcoin Cash, he felt like changed enough significantly to potentially be a real contender in the game. That was his opinion.
Yeah, so I don't like either of them.
You don't like Bitcoin Cash?
No, I think it's got big block size, but I don't know. It's not really fast. I mean, Litecoin actually did become faster. Bitcoin Cash isn't that fast.
Right.
I don't know. And I also look, who's the Charlie Lee of Litecoin? He seems like a pretty smart guy, but I just don't see any excitement in the vision. And Bitcoin Cash, I don't know. I'm not seeing the tech.
I'll be back in 2 minutes. You got to take
I'm
control.
in charge.
You're in charge for 2 minutes.
What do we want to talk about?
Don't talk about me.
Let me tell you about Ty years ago. No.
Turn it off. Okay.
What is this? What does the future hold for digital currencies? Ripple is lightning. What can I tell you here? The key is figure out, how much money do you have in savings, and what percentage of that do you want to risk? I say 1 to 10%. 1% in this market, which is uncorrelated with everything else, has a huge volatility and a tremendous upside potential. Might go to 0, but just 1% can have an effect on your portfolio. And then you take your amount and you say, you know what, I want to risk 6,000. And then you buy 1,000 a month for 6 months. You're spreading it out and you're getting in the game and not in a crazy way. And do your research. It's not the news feed and the clickbait headlines, and forget about Reddit and Steam. It's a wonderful website, but those aren't your sources. You want experts, like Ty says. Whether it's people in his course or Vitalik Buterin makes videos, just made a great video, is in Taipei talking about how it's going to scale. Listen to the leaders who are building these things, and do your research or know your stuff, and then make a move. The other reason to be informed is not just so that you pick the winner, but this stuff is volatile. If you're not confident, when it shoots up, and you'll sell too early because you're like, wow, I just made all this money. This doesn't make any sense to me. Whereas if you know why it's great, you'll hold as it keeps going up. And also when it's plummeting, it's falling, and the negative news is out, if you don't know your shit, can I swear on these cameras? If you don't know your stuff, you're going to panic. And then you're going to sell when it's down. So knowledge is key. And that's why when I decided to drop everything, I just stayed home. To me, I know I'm doing the right thing if I spend a good part of my day just reading. You know what Warren Buffett does all day? And Charlie Munger, they just read all day. And then I saw an interview of the people who are being trained to take over for Warren Buffett. And these are the best investors in the world. And if you're getting in this, you're sort of becoming an investor. They're like, what's it like to work for Warren Buffett? I'm like, I don't know. I come in at 8 in the morning, I read all day, and I go home. So you need to be, and reading, of course, and there's some great books, but a lot of this is moving so fast. It really is videos, whether it's YouTube or the geniuses Ty brings in, or me, of course. Knowledge.
Which one are you in there? Are you the genius?
Yes.
Dave's a humble man.
Yes, thank you.
Very humble. Great information, Dave. Where can we follow you? He's in the program, and he's in the private Facebook group. Yes. And he's got a YouTube channel. And his address is 3425 Sunset Boulevard.
Come visit me.
He likes, the later that you knock on the door, the happier he is. He likes to be waked up at 4 in the morning.
I used to do the parties that started at 2 a.m.
Yeah, Dave, when I met him, was a party
I'm usually
machine.
in bed by now, right?
David had a kid and became more chill.
Yeah.
How old's your daughter? 5?
I have 5 and 2.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We get up at 6 a.m.
He's up early, man.
Oh, yeah.
What wallet to use for Ripple? Thoughts on Electroneum? Let Dave go home, please. We have like a free Dave. Dave's a free man. He's enjoying this. Dave he's a poker face, man. Someone said, best stream you've had. It's very important. Marry Bitcoin to everyone. What coin is still a penny? Well, if you had listened 2 months ago, we were talking about Stellar was at a penny.
It's better to look at market cap, because there could be a ton of, you can come out with a coin and have 2 trillion coins and it'll be a penny.
Yeah.
You look at market cap, and so now, it used to be $1 billion or less were the inexpensive ones, and everything shot up. So now it's maybe under 2 billion market cap is low.
Yeah, don't look at absolute price. That's not a great way to think about things. Because it, like you said, depends on coins in circulation. It's kind of like looking and going, oh, this stock on the S&P 500 is at 200, therefore it's better than a stock that is 100. Depends how many shares are outstanding. So it's not that simple, you know.
And one of the things too, people compare to stocks. Stocks are a share of profits. This is not profits. This is just a token that makes the whole network function. When someone says something is worth more than JP Morgan. So JP Morgan, if you think about what it is, it's this bank with trust that has, I think it's like 100 trillion in derivatives that they are sort of standing behind. If there was a token that managed all that, what would be the value of that token?
Somebody tried to Google the address. Someone said, wait a second, Dave, your address is a parking lot.
That's
Dude,
not my real address.
I just made that up.
Yeah.
I just made that up. Stock is a share of a company. So, yeah, this is an important thing to understand. When you buy a stock or a bond, a stock is considered equity. It's a piece of the company. You now own a teeny piece of Snapchat. You are entitled to distributions. If they distribute money as dividends, as profits, and you owe 1/1,000,000th of 1%, you get 1/1,000,000th of 1% of what's distributed to, let's say, the owners and the big shareholders. A bond is debt. A company says, hey, I need some money. You give them the money, and they say, we'll pay you back at plus a little bit of interest. Now, when it comes to gold, that's why a gold is a better way to understand, let's say, Bitcoin. Gold is not a company. It's used as a form. It's an asset that is exchangeable, that is limited in number. There's only so many ounces of gold in the world. It's non-degradable, so it can be stored basically forever. It doesn't erode. It has a little bit of utility, but not much. Most of the utility is in the demand utility, meaning somebody will pay you theoretically more than what you put in. So that's what gold is. So some of these coins or tokens, like Bitcoin, is kind of like gold. But there's other things that are not.
Another way to look at it, though, is that there's this whole network that functions on its own, decentralized, without anybody being in charge, and you don't own it. It just is operating, and it is funded by the value of the token. The people who are running the computers that keep everything organized and whatever other functions are going on based on which platform it is, it's all funded by the token. So if the token has no value, it wouldn't work. So if it has value, the token will have value, and so it's just a different asset class.
Yeah, they consider it's basically utility. So, for example, some coin like Augur that's coming out next month that Jeremy is the founder of. Augur is going to be a prediction market. You basically decentralize and you could bet, for example, if you think Donald Trump is going to be impeached. And you could stake money on it. You could say, I'm going to take my REP coin, Rep coin, which is the Augur's kind of currency, and I'm going to bet that Donald Trump is impeached, I don't know, in August. And other people bet against it. Hell no, I'm not going to, he's going to be president for 2 terms. And so that's a prediction market. That's a utility.
But you
token.
can also use it. I believe the way they're doing it is you own Rep, and so who's going to determine?
Yes.
So what happened to Trump? Did he get impeached or not? So you're going to have a token, and some of the bets will come to you, and it's your responsibility to go in and put in who won or lost. And if you do it correctly, because they'll have a bunch of people do it, so if you do it wrong, you'll be the only one who did it wrong, and you lose your coin. But as long as you do it right, then you win more. So in a way, you'll have a job to make the system work.
If you want to, the proof of stake.
If you want
the
to
way they're going to verify this transactions in these items, so to speak. So that's considered a utility token. You have security tokens coming out. In fact, I have a friend in New York who's launching a real estate fund with an SEC-approved utility token. So that token will entitle you to equity shares in all the real estate that he's buying. So there's there's utility tokens in the ICO world. There is securitized tokens, and there's protocol tokens that you were talking about. So there's a lot. But the good news is, get started learning about it. It's not going away. Whether one coin crashes or goes up and down is like saying real estate market's going away. Because let's say, I remember when Miami condos crashed. Miami's still there. Real estate's still there. There's up and downs. You got to know where to be. You got to know where to be putting your money, when to take it out, when to put it in. You need to understand the foundational stuff, the more advanced stuff, and you just continue to go up the ladder. So for those of you listening, go to TyLopez.com/Bitcoin. I've got some very literally time-sensitive things that you're getting in the program. Someone said, Ty, well, that's not easy. It's easier if you learn from the best. I learn from the best. I've spent just this year about $300,000 or $400,000 traveling around, bringing people in, the best people, to learn from them. $300,000 or $400,000 I've already spent. So people go, Ty, why are you charging for this program? Well, because I pay money to learn. Decentralized world, if I pay, everybody pays a little bit. It's a fair way. And I give a lot of stuff away free if you can't afford it. This is for those of you really serious. Give me 8 weeks. Learn from the people I'm learning for. It's going to be game-changing. You're going to get a head start. But you're going to learn much faster than people that are trying to learn the slow way. And in the game of massive appreciation, you need to understand, the more you learn, the more you earn. And that's just how this game goes. I've said that a million times. Someone said, Ty, you need a grape coin. You want some grapes? Would you like some grapes, Charlie Murphy? Who knows where that came from? Somebody said there's no value. It's just gambling. Okay, whatever you say. Never argue with a fool.
Yeah, this is your owning. When you own a token, you are adding value to something that is making this new platform function. If it may fail or may not, but it's not a scam, and it's not just gambling. Is just putting your thing on a number that has a chance of coming up. That's not a system that's trying to solve problems in the world.
Somebody said, which 3 coins are? You're late to the game, Leonardo. We talked about OMG, we talked about Stellar, we talked about
That reminds me, another reason I like Stellar at first, because, and this was, I'll tell you, only like 6 months ago, it was more of a big deal that it was just like, they're one of the only ones who are really trying to solve real problems. Like this Jed McCaleb, they all went to Nigeria at first. They said, we want to get this going in Nigeria where they don't have banking, they all have phones. We want to just, for people who don't have any banking institutions, and they're trying to solve real problems to make the world a better place for people who, bank the unbanked. And, so it's not a scam. It's not just some fake, it's not just gambling. I mean, maybe Stellar fails. But it's not because it's a scam. It's because maybe they were not able to help these people who, I saw one application of Stellar, talk about utility, people getting Wi-Fi. They could only sell it by, it was like 3 months worth, because the fee for cashing the check for the amount of money for the Wi-Fi was so high. Now they're able to sell Wi-Fi by the hour. And so now tons of people down there are buying Wi-Fi. So, there's real use cases that help people.
Ty, what's the best way to research crypto? You can research on Steam. You could research on YouTube. You can obviously use Google, Twitter. You should follow. There's lots of good crypto people on Twitter. Like I said, for those of you who want a more advanced step-by-step, we'll hold your hand and walk you through, give you an exact template. You could go into paid program we have, TyLopez.com/Bitcoin. There's lots of ways. Each of you are going to learn in different ways. I tell you what I do. Unarguable. I've probably spent in the last 3 years on my own education, continuing education, let's say $2 million. And the more I spend on learning, magically every year I spend more and I make more. I mean, some people say, oh, they're uncorrelated. I would doubt it. I'd say it's causative, man. Yeah, Reddit is another source. You need to be careful. Like one of the things that one of my mentors was saying is like, Reddit and Steam is obviously slightly biased. You want to learn. But they're great places to learn. I mean, you should learn from many places is the real answer.
But your thing is that from the experts.
Yes, this is the best
know
one.
Your source. And a lot of the Reddit is just like it's people with opinions, and who are they? You don't know. I mean, if the founder of some company makes a post on Reddit, or there was an AMA, there was a great AMA with the lead guy at IBM who's working with Stellar. I was able to ask this guy a question directly. That was great. So that's a great use for Reddit. But there's some threads, it's like, is Stellar going to the moon? And there's all these posts.
I'll tell you where not to learn. Some of the mainstream articles being written are just so bad. I can tell the journalists just like Googled 3 other website articles,
Yeah.
cut and pasted them all into one. And like, here's my new article.
News has to be put in the category of entertainment. I mean, it's link bait, it's sensational, it's not educational.
I saw literally an article. The article was like Forbes or something. WTF, what the fuck is Litecoin? And it was like 4 paragraphs, and that was it. I was like, ooh, genius explanation of Litecoin. Thank you for your 4 paragraphs. I'm like, you're not going to learn about a coin or a token or a utility, a protocol in 4 paragraphs if it says, especially if it was just kind of weird. Wall Street Wolf on Bitcoin looked that up. Jordan Belfort was just here at the house. I interviewed him. Some people don't like it. Warren Buffett doesn't love crypto. He doesn't love Bitcoin. But sometimes the top guys are wrong. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger told Elon Musk not to start Tesla. Mm-hmm. And they both admitted they were wrong. So, I mean, you got a different... No one person is God on this planet. There is nobody who knows everything. You accumulate knowledge from multiple sources. The more qualified, the better. But any one given source... That's why I decided to build this course in a decentralized way, where there's many people, many qualified experts teaching. And we actually have done this already in the course. It's called the Bitcoin Crypto Mentor Mastermind. One of the things that I did in it is each lesson that's submitted by an expert, I have it peer reviewed by other experts. And we just pulled a lesson out that was in the program. Oh, it actually never made it in. It was about to go in. I had it peer reviewed. You didn't like it. About 3 people didn't like it. So we're actually decentralizing the learning process. What you're seeing here at my company, Ty Lopez, which is Knowledge Society, is the name of the platform that I'm building out. Knowledge Society is decentralizing education. What sucks about our education, think about back when you're in history class. I remember one year in school, my history class was taught by a former PE teacher. He had no qualifications. He didn't like history. He would take the textbook and read it. Civil War, 18. It was so boring. He basically destroyed every potential curious, emotion in 100% of us about history. Now imagine if it was an amazing teacher who liked it, who knew about it, who was qualified, but maybe they live in Mozambique, Africa. Imagine a blockchain, decentralized way of having education. That's what I'm starting on. That's like my passion in this. The school system destroys most of our potential. It takes the first 18 years of our life where we can learn the fastest, where your brain's the most malleable, most neuroplasticity. And you know what it does? It teaches us to memorize the capital of Montana is Helena, 9 times 9 is 81. All this stuff that now technology will do for you. You don't need to memorize capitals. I don't care what the capital of Mozambique is. I don't know. And if I did memorize it, that means my brain, something practical, is not in there. I can Google. You can use Siri. You can use Amazon. What's the Amazon thing now? What's the lady?
Echo? No,
but
that's the name of the thing.
Alexa.
Alexa. You could now just yell out. And this is... I had one of the top USC professors, and he wrote the book Disrupt You, about disruptive technology. He said, dude, we're just getting started. Artificial intelligence is going to grow. It's going to be virtual reality. And so we're still learning in the way they learned in 1890s. So this new program you're getting in, not only is it going to teach you this stuff, but it's also going to teach in a new way.
I talked to someone who was a lawyer. And, trying to make money. I said, you know what? This new blockchain thing, and it's really affecting law with finance in so many ways. I said, you know what? Just take a year. We really study what's going on, and then you'll be able to write your ticket in law because you'll be an expert in this where no one else is, and there's huge demand. And they're like, well, you know what? I went to college. I went to law school. I studied. I don't want to study anymore.
Yes.
So... like, okay, whatever, but, you're not going to, and this person is trying to find a job and, having trouble making money. And it just comes down to knowledge. And it's unfortunate that whatever they studied at law school doesn't apply today, but it is what it is. And now we have something new that you couldn't have studied in law school 4 years ago because no one knew any of it. And so now you need to get out there and you need to learn. You have to be learning, as Warren Buffett says, I believe it's him, you need to be a learning machine all the time.
For sure.
Forever.
Learning, and especially now, the thing is moving faster than any one person can keep up with. Trust me. That's why I said you get in this program. We're talking about there's, Filecoin. This is a new thing. It's not even out. You want to get in potentially early. QDM moved double almost in the last 24 hours.
And that's why I don't get like 20 coins.
What's
I like to pick a
0x
few.
at?
It's also better to dig deep into a couple ideas. And every time you dig, you learn more. If you like what you see, you keep digging and you keep digging. Sometimes you dig and then you start to see, wait, what's that? And I don't like, and then you don't like it. But I do see a lot of people who don't go that deep. And that is important with this, just to keep, take the time to, it's like, IOTA, it's fast, it's free. Well, how does it work? Do you understand it? And did you actually buy some? It says it's really fast. When I had it and I downloaded it to my wallet, when I tried to sell it, it didn't work. It was super slow. I'm like, I don't know, everyone says it's fast, but my experience is this thing is slow. So, do your research.
Was backed by Microsoft because most of them don't know. Talk about the IRS, please.
That's another good reason to hold. You don't have to pay taxes if you never sell it.
Record your basis. So basically, what the IRS's current stand, I'm not an expert, but you can ask your CPA. But basically, if you do not keep track of how much cash you put in on day one and you sell it, they're going to consider it all taxable income, which is a nightmare. So if you put $100 in, you need to keep track of it, that you put 100 in, take a screenshot, keep a screenshot of your bank account, 100 going into the exchange, and then if it goes up to 200 and you sell it, or 300 and you sell it, let's say, you only have to pay taxes on the increase above 100. Very important. Because the IRS, if you're in the U.S., is going to change the game for a lot of people. Because what people were doing is basically getting around this. And man, I said this at that mastermind at my house right over there. I said, you mark my words, it's going to be the tax ban that comes even more than the SEC. People have been worried about the SEC with ICOs. Are these securities? Are they just are they utilities? Like if it's a utility, the SEC doesn't have to regulate it. But I said the IRS is going to be a bigger deal.
They're going to have their hands full because I don't even sell, and I don't, I just buy and hold. And, they said Coinbase, IRS is looking into them. So I printed out all my history from Coinbase.
Yeah.
And I haven't done anything or barely sold anything, and I can't make heads or tails of it because every time it moved, when I put it into storage and the report, they recorded it as, well, it moved to storage and then it went out, and it's very hard to read. I can't even figure out what my thing is.
Yeah, but that's what I said. You need to record it on your bank side.
Right. I mean, I have the info. I'm just saying.
Don't record it on the exchange side.
It's for people who are trading a lot. I can't even imagine keeping track of that stuff.
Yeah, I know. I wonder why these Coinbases don't have a simple tracker of your principal, your initial,
Yeah, a lot of these places just haven't got around to writing good reporting.
I know, but that should have been built on day one. Salt lending is the solution. So Anthony says, I know the founder of Salt. He said he's going to be on my show, so watch for that. Salt is a crypto utility. They did an ICO. I think it was about a $40 million ICO. And basically what Salt does is it allows you to borrow money on the crypto you have without cashing it in. But if you only got $100 and it increases, you're not going to be able to do Salt. It's for larger holders. So Salt is not for everybody. But yeah, Salt's a cool solution. That's something we haven't talked about. What is Salt at today? It's got a decent market size, market cap.
Did that launch? Because I remember I talked to them and it looked cool, but I remember it hadn't launched. I haven't looked at it lately.
It's at $9.29 on 20 million volume. It's got almost $500 million market cap. Yeah, it's a cool. I can tell you this: the guy that I know, I think it's 3 founders. I know 1 or 2 of them. Well, I know one better than the other. He's a great guy. So doesn't necessarily mean you should buy it, but it is a good thing to start off with somebody who's, companies where the owner is an asshole sometimes get themselves in trouble. You see that in companies. Will Litecoin hit 1,000 or higher? Austin Johnson. So let me talk about this real quick. This is so important for people to understand. This is the tragedy of the school system, that this was not pounded into our brains. One of my mentors, Alan Nation, my second mentor, taught me this. And I kept this information in my brain, thankfully, every day of my life since then. And what he said is, a normal capitalistic cycle, this is what he told me. He said, this period of time right here, from here to here, or from bottom to bottom, is generally 7 to 10 years. Now, there are exceptions, but if you think about it, this is about right. So in like early 2000s, you had the internet bubble crash. It was a recessionary time, especially for people who helped. There was a guy here at my house about a year ago. When the internet went up, he was worth $1 billion and it crashed to zero. His company, Webvan. Webvan. So that was a bottom in the early 2000s. And then about 7 years later, 2008, what happened to the real estate market? 6 million people evicted from their house, lost their homes, right? So sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter. Also, the peaks are often. So you had, let's say, what was the peak of the tech bubble roughly?
2001.
Yeah. So you had a peak up here at 2001, and you had a peak at around 2000, right? Roughly, let's say 2000, 2001 is about 6-7 years between the top and the 6 or 7 years between the bottom. Now, this is what Alan Nation, my mentor, he died, sadly. I wish I could have brought him on a live call. I tried. He lived in Mississippi. He was in his, I think, almost his 70s. Smartest guy I've ever met. Taught me how to love reading, and he's the first person I ever met that read a book a day. And he had a photographic memory, actually. And he said, look, if you know what you're doing, you will make money here. This is called the top of the market. And this is the same for the stock market, for real estate, for cryptocurrency, for Bitcoin. It's all the same. You will have the top of the market. This is called basically a shrinking period, right? This is when things shrink. Deflationary, not necessarily deflationary, but a shrinking towards a recession. This bottom here is called the recession. I think the technical economists will say it's what, 2 quarters of negative growth or something like that. That's this bottom, that's recession. And then you have so this is contraction, you could call it. Contracting, recession, expanding. And then of course you have here, you have the top, okay? So he said a smart person learns how to make money here. Every single point. You just have to adapt your strategy. So I'm going to give you an example. I've told people this. It blows my mind that we weren't taught this. Imagine this. You buy a house. Let's just take real estate. Forget Bitcoin. It still applies. You buy a house at the top of the market, okay, in 2001, let's say. And there's a house that I have up in the Hollywood Hills. I still have it. It sold for $100,000 or something in 2001, before me. So now let's say it's slowly, actually real estate, would be this way. This would be the bottom, let's say, right after the crash. So all of a sudden, it goes up. So right before the real estate crash of 2008, let's say you sold that house for $1 million. You bought it for 100, now you sell it for $1 million, right? So now you have 900 grand. Now, the IRS is going to take their cut. If you've held it for a certain length of time, you'll pay less tax. It's called long-term capital gains. You pay less. Okay. So, but what do you do now? Because now you have cash. What are you going to do with the cash? You need a place to live. He said, you got to buy another house. And guess what? Now, since you got to buy another house, you have to buy at the top of the market. So it sucks sometimes to be at the top, because now when you want to buy Bitcoin, it's at 16,000 or 18,000. Now, so the top isn't always the best place to be. But if you learn how to adapt, and he said you have to have more than one strategy. What makes you money down here doesn't make you money here. What makes you money here doesn't make you money there. So knowing where you are in the game is how you're successful on the up or the down. Don't fear the down and don't fear the up. Be neutral. It's all the same game. When real estate goes to its peak, don't get excited, because now it's a pain in the ass to go out and buy more real estate. It's all I remember 2007. Because I listened to Alan Nation, I didn't get hurt at all. I was investing in real estate. I didn't lose a penny. I went to Miami to look if I should buy a place. And I remember looking at a condo that was $1 million condo, okay? But the rental market was only like, you could rent it for $3,000 a month. Mm-hmm. I'm going, this thing got a horrible return on your investment, right? So I didn't buy. And then the thing came down. I forget how much. Miami was a nightmare in 2008, boy, because they built these condos and no one wanted to use them. But you know what? Same thing happened in Vegas. And I had friends buying houses for 10 grand in Vegas. 10 grand. And they could rent them out for like $1,000 a month. I mean, like, not $1,000 a month. They could rent them out for, let's say, $300 a month. So they're making 35% on their invested money, and they had a half freaking house. So those people did better when it crashed. That's what I'm saying.
One of my best years in my e-commerce business was here after the market crash. I have an affiliate program. My biggest competitor who had an affiliate program, he went under because he was spending money in the boom.
Right.
He went under. So the year after the crash, I got all of his affiliates. I was the only one left. And so I had my best year after it crashed because, of that.
So I'm trying to tell you what they forgot to teach you in school. If you learned from MSNBC or CNN or Fox or something, you learn it wrong because reporters are also victims of the system. They don't know what they're talking about. So they write articles like, oh, will Bitcoin crash? If I was an article, I'd write it called, I can't wait for Bitcoin to crash. That would be my article. If any of you thinks Bitcoin's going to crash and you want to sell me your Bitcoin, I'll pay you $100 a coin all day. But see, no one wants to sell it right now. But if it crashes, I'm still here. There's only, 21 million whatever coins? I was like, if it would go, imagine if now they're not all out there because coins get basically released over time. But if I could buy all the Bitcoin in the world for $1, there'd be 21 million. And right now it's worth what? A quarter of a bill plus? 300 bill? Whew. I'm waiting for it. So learn this, man. Don't fear anything. Just adapt your strategy. It's like Bruce Lee said, you got to be like water. In this one thing, I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You learn in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu different tactics. So for example, if you are attacked by a big fat guy, strategy number one is to move very quick on him. Because if he knows how to wrestle, the guy who trains me in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, one of them is a guy named Higa Machado. So he's almost a red belt. He's in the coral belt. He's one of the top Jiu-Jitsu guys in history. But he's 280 pounds. If he ever tackles you and gets on top, and there's something called side control, and he puts his stomach on you and pushes down, you will die. Trust me. Literally. You will lose all your breath, and you will pass out, and then you will die. So what happens is, like, against a big guy, you have to move fast if he's bigger than you. Against a smaller person, you want to slow it down. So when he's a big guy, when he fights a smaller guy, he just tries to slow it down because he says, eventually I can use my weight against them. In boxing, I train with a guy, Ricky from Ten Goose, one of the top boxing gyms. He's like, Ty, you ever get in a fight with a super tall guy? Hit him right in the stomach, boy. He will go right down. You hit him right. He's been in 38 street fights. I said, how many did you win? He's from Central America. He said 37. He has fast hands. Go on my Instagram and watch him do the speed bag. He said, well, I lost one fight ever. I said, what happened? He said, I got cocky. And you see how people take their shirt off when they're like mad, like, oh, you want to fight me?
Yeah.
He said, while I had my shirt over my head, bop, God knocked me out. One punch right in my chin. But he has different strategies. You know, if you're going against a shorter guy, you want to use a jab, keep him far, far away. If you're Mike Tyson was shorter, you get on the inside and you beat him up on the inside, real close. Mike Tyson will get you close in and bop, put you to sleep. Same with investing. When the thing's dropping down, you probably want to be buying. When the thing's at the bottom, if you believe in the underlying technology, if you believe the real estate has value, if people are going to rent it out and you can see it and you can have vision when everybody else is freaking out, this is a great time to buy. When the thing is going up, well, you know, you got to, here you can also, by the way, it's depending on what market you're in, you can short, you know, and you can make money in options. And now that'll come eventually to cryptocurrency. And then at the top, you know, you could take a vacation. Good time to take a vacation, man.
Yeah, I've been trying to put some in every month, but this past month or a little more, it's been going up so much. I'm a little behind in my buying because it's, you know, you want to buy when it's going down. And so it just keeps going up every day.
This is going to be a good podcast.
Hard to buy.
These long ones get the most downloads. Mm-hmm. We'll put this up, a little side note. IOTA, Verge, people sleeping on ADA. Is BitConnect wrong? Someone said they were trying to fight Mike Tyson. People are like sheep.
And people keep asking about this BitConnect. You know, we talk about knowing the founders. Nobody knows who the founder is of BitConnect. And then people are like, well, we don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto is. You're not giving your money to Satoshi Nakamoto. No. You're buying you're trusting the algorithm. You're actually giving your money to BitConnect, and whoever the owner is hiding. And there's other reasons to be scared of BitConnect, but to me, that's a good one.
Don't start with BitConnect, please. Every smart mentor I have is anti-BitConnect. So, you know what I've learned in life? When 10 smart people tell you not to do something and you do it anyway, you will fucking regret it. Now, when one smart person says not to do it and 9 say yes, do it, sometimes you can ignore the one expert. But I'm telling you, you get enough experts being like, hell no, and you do it anyway, it's 1 in a million chance. So every expert I've talked to about BitConnect is like, nah, leave it alone, man. Every one of them. Almost every person that's an expert that I've talked to thinks Bitcoin's going to be around. Probably Ethereum too. EOS probably is not going to kill Ethereum. It's not designed to destroy anything. It's a protocol. Protocols mean they're used for different purposes. The P protocol can also be understood as purpose. That's a little quick way to think about it. Bring on an IOTA expert. It's funny. There's certain things have cult followings.
Yeah, the
Ripple.
Ripple's
IOTA,
like doubled in the last 2 days. That
Litecoin has it. Litecoin for sure.
Yeah. I guess it's also whether it goes up. But IOTA, even when the thing was down for a long time, people worship IOTA.
Yeah. And IOTA's out of Canada, I think, ain't it? Pretty sure it's a Canadian
I don't know where
one.
they are. It's a...
Yeah, we talked about IOTA yesterday. Some people don't like IOTA as much as others for different reasons. So that's outside of the scope. I talked about this yesterday with a person that's their kind of expertise. So go back and listen to that. I like that Ripple is American by American made. This is not really a good way to think about it. It's not a country-based coin. In fact, the whole purpose of this is to be like not American, the purpose of decentralization. Think of it this way. If you wouldn't want an American only coin, because that means if American recession happens, or American regulator, or American president, or Federal Reserve gets a hold of it, they could tweak it. The whole point is like no one person is able to corrupt the system. It's supposed to be uncorruptible system.
And it should be open to the world, so it's decentralized around the whole world, which is a bigger market than just, although America's a huge market, but still, if you're available to anyone around the world, it's much bigger.
Yes. Yeah, some of the securitized tokens that are coming out, like I was talking about my friend doing a securitized token in the US for US real estate, that will be more US based. But in general, that's not how this game, it's not a country-based thing. So in summary, the 3 coins, Dave, number 1.
I like my Stellar Lumens.
Stellar. Number 2.
Ethereum.
No, you did 2. You did
OMG.
OMG, which is a newer, smaller coin, right? It's still a small market cap.
That is. It's well, you know what? It went up 50% today, unfortunately.
Time sensitive. This is crazy. Since the time he was here, getting ready for this call.
This morning I was looking. I was like, I got to buy some this week, and I saw it.
It's painful.
50%.
Oh, sorry, it went up 50%. And then third, he was talking about just the ETH coin, Ethereum, because it's a stable platform. By the way, use more secure stuff, man. Like those of you can use LastPass, OnePass, something like that. Make sure you set up double authentication, something like Google. For those of you who
Google Authenticator, you'll need that when you're setting up accounts at exchanges.
Yeah. You can use Tor network as one. You can use, a lot of people are using Telegram. You can use Signal. Those are encrypted kind of things. There's Mark Cuban built a company called Dust.
Dust.
No, it changed the name to Dust. It's an application where things disappear. It's not stored on any server. So anyway, those of you got in the program, we're going to see a premiere of The Room. The screening of The Room. You guys seen this movie? No, what's the movie? The Disaster Artist with Franco and Seth Rogen. You should come. We're going to go see a midnight screening with the actual person from, what's his name? Tommy Mizell. Wiseau. Lisa, I did not hurt her. I did not. Isn't that what he says?
I did not hit her. I did not.
I did not.
Oh, hi, Mark. Oh, hi, Todd.
Hi, delete iota comments. You didn't delete standards. No, we just delete your ass because you're annoying. Dave, my man, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging in there.
Good stuff.
Yeah. All right. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.